There's a term that's used for people who look after animals, grazing animals. It's a pastoralist, and terribly similar to pastor. Pastor being the name that's given to somebody who's looking after God's flock. And Peter, the Apostle Peter, talks about the chief shepherd, the one who's in control of everything. But he doesn't control in a demanding, oppressive, a nasty, unpleasant way, but he leads us and he models what it's like to be the good shepherd, the one that Jesus talks about in John 10, the good shepherd who cares for the sheep. And the Apostle Peter, who experienced that very same shepherd in his own life, then passes on some good advice to people. He says, until the chief shepherd appears, being careful how you pastor people, being careful how you look after people, recognizing that there's a time when a chief shepherd will come and will see the quality of your work as well, and will test it. And we need to understand that God is one who cares for us. We can be daft, we can be wandering, we can be like those sheep and those grazing animals that are just wanting to try and feed on something, and we go in different directions. We need guidance, we need to be led in the right way, and we need to be directed gently to make sure we don't go off the path, and we need to be looked after. Sometimes we struggle, we hurt ourselves, we make mistakes, we find some measure of conflict with others within the flock, and God is always looking to care for the whole flock and also for the individuals. And being a good shepherd, he cares for his sheep. He speaks his voice to them, and they learn to recognize his voice. A pastoralist is somebody who has to be constantly working in situations, sometimes in the Middle East or some of the countries in the world where people are looking after their flock. Not everywhere is green and lush. Not everywhere is easy. Sometimes it's not obvious where the good pasture is. It requires carefully finding it and leading them to places which are going to be suitable. And that process of taking people on a journey is also one that is a bit of an art, isn't it? If you're in any form of Christian leadership, you'll know that taking people with you on something is not always an easy journey, and they don't always go all at the same time, and one lags behind and others are racing ahead. And it's a bit of an interesting thing. If you've ever taken a group of people out on an outing, on a walk, you realise some are slow and they wander behind, others are chatting, someone gets distracted by the ice cream, somebody else wants to go and do something else, and another person striding ahead walks quite fast. So learning how to keep the group together is an art in itself, isn't it? And I think that's one thing that we are needing to learn. How do we look after people well? And I pray today that we would learn that from the Good Shepherd. We would learn how to look after people well. We would learn how to be those who really care for his flock. We learn his ways of doing that, and also being in his flock as well, being one of the sheep under his care, as Psalm 95 talks about. We would also find that place of knowing and understanding that God is caring for us, that he's looking out for us. And those of you who might be leading others, that God's not forgotten you either, and that he cares for your needs. He's not forgotten your needs. He's not forgotten the things that you struggle with personally as well. When others are looking to you for their care and support, he also understands your needs. And I pray that you have people around you too who will support you in what God gives you to do.